Welcome to the Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. I'm so happy you found us. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on I-Fiber One News Radio, KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Good morning to you. It's Tuesday here at I-Fiber One News Radio. Hope you're having a great start to the day. Good morning, Spencer.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and we had some good conversations roll throughout the studio yesterday in studio, so we'll have some of those today, including Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury. You'll be able to watch that later this morning on iFiber1newsradio.com and some more COVID numbers, but good to see folks starting to roll back into the studio. It's been a long time, and out of an abundance of caution, of course, you and I have been trying to put every precaution in place to make sure that we limit the number of people that come in, especially at a time, and then there's a lot of time in between interviews to clean and things like that. So we're getting there.
No, absolutely. It's a great model, honestly, and I think if more people took those extra little precautions, we could really stave off the spread of this thing, honestly. So it's good that
today's the day, right, too, on mandatory masks. So we'll talk about that later, but that starts today, right?
Yeah, businesses are supposed to refuse service to people now the same way they would for other reasons if they come into the business without a mask, without a health type of, wavering, factor.
Sure.
Mason County Public Health.
Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, it's a big day for sure. Big changes today. Mason County Public Health was notified of 2 additional Mason County residents that tested positive for COVID-19, a male in their 20s and a female in their 40s. This brings the total to 56 positive cases in Mason County. Mason County Public Health is continuing contact interviews. If you're showing symptoms of COVID-19, early testing is encouraged. At the earliest signs of symptoms, please reach out to the Respiratory Illness Triage line. That's 360-427-3615. They can assist you in scheduling an appointment at Mason Health's drive-through COVID-19 testing. Identified positive cases are located throughout the county. Mason County Public Health is asking that the public do their part to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. Stay informed, information changing frequently, of course, really on a day-to-day basis sometimes. Follow Mason County All Hazards on Facebook regularly for updates. We encourage the use of the following websites as well: co.mason.wa.us, the CDC's website at cdc.gov, and doh.wa.gov.
Lots of good information on all those sites, and it really, you can go countywide, then the state level response, and CDC, of course, is national. Washington health officials confirming 1,088 additional cases yesterday, including 11 more deaths. This is across the state for coronavirus. State Department of Health says the number of cases reported Monday includes a data processing backlog of cases from the holiday weekend. Over the past 4 days, the daily case total has been 711. State's total now is just under 37,000 with 1,370 deaths. About 3.7% of the people diagnosed in the state have died.
The Trump administration is requiring nursing homes to report their COVID-19 cases and deaths. It also has promised to make user-friendly data available for residents, families, and the public at large. But some facilities that had cases and deaths turn up as having none on Medicare's COVID-19 nursing home website. And consumer advocates say finding statistics for any individual nursing home can be a challenge. Medicare says it lacks the legal authority to require nursing homes to report cases going back to the beginning of the year. There's now a push in Congress to require full disclosure.
In response to coronavirus, the state has launched Washington Listens, a support program and phone line to help people manage elevated levels of stress due to the pandemic. People who call the Washington Listens support line will speak with a support specialist and get connected to community resources in the area. It's an anonymous program. The program helps people cope and strengthen their resiliency during these uncertain times. That's what Sue Birch said, director of the State Healthcare Authority, the agency managing this. It complements the state's behavioral health response service by providing an outlet for folks who are not in crisis but need an outlet to manage stress. Of course, this pandemic has far-reaching effects of both physical health and more. The phone line is 1-833-681-0211, 9 to 9, Monday through Friday. You can also find out more with tips at walistens.org, walistens.org. Again, today on the show, Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury will find out 2 more nominations for the Deserving for Dinner contest that we've got going on here on the Daybreak Show, and more of it is coming up. Good morning.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, once again, good Tuesday morning to you. A little cloudy out there as we start the day together. Good morning, Spence. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself? Good morning.
Good on this day. Looking at regional stories here, we're going to head into Yelm. Police in the state believe a body discovered by a kayaker was a suspect who jumped into a river during a failed burglary attempt. King TV reporting a man's body was found along the Nisqually River in Yelm, identity not immediately released, but Lieutenant Ray Brady of the Thurston County Sheriff's Office says he appears to be a suspect from a burglary on June 25th. A deputy responded to a residence where a man was seen carrying a firearm before dropping the gun and jumping into the river. Body was found a quarter mile from that burglary site.
The Seattle City Council has approved adopting a new tax on big businesses 2 years after the council repealed a similar tax amid pressure from corporations such as Amazon and the prospect of a voter referendum. The council voted yesterday to approve the tax, expected to raise more than $200 million per year. The new tax, called Jumpstart Seattle by lead sponsor Councilmember Teresa Mosqueda, will target companies with many highly paid employees, whereas the 2018 head tax would have applied to all employees at large companies. The council voted 7-2 on the measure, which is expected to raise more than $200 million per year.
A judge set bail at $1.2 million yesterday for the man accused of driving a Jaguar onto a closed Seattle freeway and hitting 2 protesters, killing one. Police say Dawit Khalid drove the car around vehicles that were parked on I-5 to protect a group of Black Femme March demonstrators. They say he hit 2 people and sped away early Saturday, taken into custody. Judge found probable cause to hold Khalid on investigation of vehicular assault. He is scheduled to be charged tomorrow.
The King County Sheriff's Office said yesterday it has placed a detective on leave as it investigates Facebook posts that ridiculed protesters who were struck by a car on a closed freeway over the weekend. Detective Mike Brown has been with the Sheriff's Office for more than 4 decades. The King County Sheriff's Office said it was notified of the posts, including one that reportedly said, "All lives splatter," on Sunday, and forwarded the matter to its internal investigations unit for an expedited review. It was not immediately clear if Brown had obtained a lawyer. The King County Police Officers Guild did not immediately return an email seeking comment.
And the Supreme Court has ruled unanimously that states can require presidential electors to back their state's popular vote winner in the Electoral College. Justice Elena Kagan wrote for the court yesterday in a decision flavored with references to the Broadway show Hamilton, which just dropped on Disney Plus and apparently was a huge watch over the weekend. Also, Kagan is referencing the TV series Veep, and it comes just under 4 months before the 2020 election, leaving in place laws in 32 states and the District of Columbia that bind electors to vote for their state's popular vote winner. Electors almost always do so anyways. So-called faithless electors have not been critical to the outcome of an election for the presidency, but that could change in a race when it's very tight with just a few electoral votes between the 2 candidates. More Daybreak Show is coming up. Good Tuesday morning to you.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Well, good morning once again, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes here on the Daybreak Show on this Tuesday. Yesterday, Spencer, good morning first.
Hey, good morning to you.
Yesterday, we had the first of our Deserving for Dinner nominees. And again, the story on this one is Eric Anisco from the Bayshore, Texaco and the Hillcrest Shell, also city council member, called me up and said, I want to help out the Strip Steakhouse. I love them. And I bought a bunch of gift cards. And I want you and the radio station to give these out to people figure out however you want to do it and get the contest. So we're sitting around thinking, and I love the giving to people kind of a contest idea. And so coming up with this deserving for dinner where you nominate someone for a $25 gift card has really resonated. And we've gotten a lot of these nominations in, and we're going to continue to read the nominations and then award these gift cards until we're out of them. We have 25, and we've got 2 more for today. Who is our first nominee from someone in the community?
We have Katie nominating her mother, Kay. This is a very nice email we got in. I can't think of anyone else more deserving of a good steak dinner than my mom, Kay. She's the most selfless, hardest working person you could ever meet. Even though her 3 daughters are grown, she still does everything in her power to support them through life. In her spare time, she's a dedicated volunteer in the Mason County 4-H program. Our community is lucky to have someone like her, and I'm so grateful to have grown up with her as my mother and role model. These are just really touching emails, all the ones we've gotten. And Katie nominates her mom, Kay.
That's a really good one. I've got one here. I would like to nominate my Mountain View Elementary School boss, the best principal, Mary Johnson. During the last 3 months of distance learning, she has been an advocate for staff through the tough challenges, a listening ear when they ran into technical difficulties, and has been devoted to numerous district, staff, team, and parent meetings that she has had to attend remotely each week. Beyond exhausted, and I would like her to know that her hard work, dedication, and care for her staff and families has not gone unnoticed. She absolutely deserves to treat herself and her husband to a wonderful steak dinner at the Strip. Tara wrote that in again for the principal at Mountain View Elementary, Mary Johnson, another deserving nominee and someone who is deserving for dinner at the Strip Steakhouse. That's a really good one, too. You know, we will be in contact with these folks, and we will continue to share these wonderful stories of people making great impacts in our community and folks who truly are deserving for dinner. More
really
Daybreak Show coming up.
From the iFiber One News Radio studios, you're listening to Daybreak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show. We are starting up our in-studio interviews once again, obviously masked, and Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury is here. Good morning, Casey.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. The Sheriff Sit Down brought to you by our great friends at Our Community Credit Union. And we're in studio, we're in masks, and this is a new look, obviously, for us here. We've gone a few months through coronavirus in Mason County and across the world. Let's do a look back here. It seems like the county's been doing pretty good on the numbers, and for the most part, people seem to be complying.
Yes, hasn't it been a huge change? Something that we never, ever envisioned. The county, I think, has been doing pretty well, as you've had us on before, recording remotely. Health Director Dave Wyndham has been on a number of times. I'll be going up there at 8 again this morning. We've been meeting every morning. And the last couple of weeks, it's been Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We've pared it down by a couple of days a week. But just updating every day from our medical professionals and our health professionals of what's going on in our county, which gives us guidance on what we need to be doing.
When you guys learn new information and are talking about it in your group, when you start making those determinations of sending the information out via press release or any of the videos that the All Hazard News Facebook page has been putting out, when you start to get those numbers, are you more confident in how things are moving forward, or are you starting to see signs that where we're at now, phase 3, is a little precarious?
I think it's, I'll talk a little bit about it. I think it's better to have the health professional with Dave Wyndham talk about what's going on. But what I see personally that I appreciate in the morning is when our local physicians speak on what they see going on. I mean, you're learning a lot from them. And what we're seeing through like the contact tracing, how are these things getting into our county, or how is it, how are we getting these cases? It seems to me like most people in our county are doing quite well. It appears to me like a lot of travel things are where the issues start to come up. But through that each morning and learning how the cases are getting here, or just better educate you on what you need to do for the future.
So a big weekend. It was the 4th of July weekend. A lot of folks opted to obviously stay home, and there was a lot of fireworks at home, which I think we all kind of assumed would happen. And more people are coming into the county. Are you hearing any reports of how the weekend was and what you're looking like for the next couple months?
Well, it was really busy. I watched it. I've got an ability to watch a call screen remotely as well, wherever I'm at. It was very busy. I think about the differences is, and as you know, because you've been to a lot of these events, have changed us and our community here as well as across the country, that most often on the weekends throughout the summer since I've been here as sheriff, almost all summer you're at something every Saturday or Sunday all summer. So Tahuya days, the Abida Hood Canal, all those kind of things that we had before. I think about how much we moved around among each other that we're not doing anymore.
Uh-huh.
And for me personally, as you know, Chief Sperling and I have kind of taken Fridays to where we'd love to go out in the community on Fridays and meet different businesses or go to different places in the county and just chat with people. Well, look how much that's changed for us, the ability to do that. Twice a month I had a regional breakfast for the law enforcement for the entire region that I've been hosting for about 12 years, which brought our community, law enforcement community together to talk about issues and things, and had outstanding speakers. We haven't been able to do that. Once a month we had the Sheriff's Morning Advisory Board on Thursdays, and we've been doing that for 12, 13 years. And that, it seems so impersonal to me that we're not doing those things anymore and that we're wearing masks and things. And so it's just changed a lot of how we do things. It's for my style, I call it cramping my style. I like to be out of the community doing things, and I would say that most of the sheriffs do in the state. But it's really changed it for us, and being able to interact with people as much, it's changed so much.
Mason County Sheriff here during the Sheriff Sit-Down presented by our Community Credit Union. Talk to me a little bit about how the Sheriff's Office has traditionally used PPE, maybe not with masks on stops, but you've had gloves that you've had to wear. I mean, you're familiar with these types of things that we're now, regular folks are getting used to. I'm
getting, I think, into another age group now when people don't remember some things. But as a kid, I remember our local dentist here for many, many years. They didn't wear rubber gloves. They washed their hands and they worked on your teeth. And as that evolved into more precautionary measures, law enforcement did too. I remember when we first started off, we didn't normally have rubber gloves and things like that with us. And now most all of us carry a box in our car and a bunch of them on us. We use them all the time. And so years ago, we made the move to universal precautions because of other bloodborne pathogens that we learned about over the years. And so we've always been, for the last quite a few years, most of the people in the business now have been used to that. A lot of us wear glasses or face shield, depending on what you're going into, if there's that kind of something in the environment. And now we've added the mask as a more full-time piece of equipment that we carry with us. And so it's just changing things. The other thing, I think, just sitting here and watching you this morning, that's been really hard for me. I'm a people person. I like being out and talking to people. You really have to focus on looking at a person because we're not seeing the facial expressions anymore.
I was thinking the same thing you were talking. I was smiling.
I can't tell if you're smiling or not in there. And when you're talking to people in public, it's different. I had a friend come in last week that wears glasses, and they're kind of the glasses darken up. Came in the building with a mask on and glasses, and it was almost hard. It was a lot more difficult to communicate, not seeing a person that normally has a lot of expression, and not seeing that. It's changed a lot of things, and for us in the car, and when you contact people anywhere, it's a lot different than it was in the past.
Sheriff's Office continues to be out on the roads, making sure folks in Mason County are safe, and we will continue to talk about the issues through the summer as more people come into town. They start using our waterways and our roadways to get between here and there. So always topics with the Mason County Sheriff. Again, the Sheriff Sit Down presented by our great friends at our Community Credit Union. And good to have back in studio. A little different, but still good to have you here. Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury.
Take care.
I-Fiber One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey, Spencer Hughes continues on here on the Daybreak Show. Good morning, Spencer.
Hey, good morning to you.
So today is the day that a lot of, well, it's a change in the fact that masks are pretty much required across the state. Is that what I'm reading here? Some of these,
the main difference
this morning.
Yeah, the main difference today. All right, July 7th. We've been talking about it for, I think he announced it about a week ago, or maybe a little bit longer ago. But today is the day that businesses, and that includes restaurants, are required to refuse service to those who do not wear a mask. So this is a big complying change, where the restaurant, presumably the staff, the owner, the management, will have to turn away someone, a business. Theoretically, I'm working at the car lot after work. If someone comes and wants to check out a car or buy a car, they have to be wearing a mask. And businesses can actually face fines and even a loss of a business license if they fail to comply. So
this is starting today, and we have heard a lot about these over the weeks of mandatory masking in Thurston County, for example. But still, I didn't see full compliance. When I've gone into sporting goods stores up until now, they've stopped me and made sure I've had a mask, and I have to read a sign that says, have I been in groups? Do I have a fever? Things like that. Buddy of mine runs Well 80 in downtown Olympia, and he required masks, I think, starting last week in preparation for this. And so the question becomes, like you were saying, if somebody has a medical condition or if there's a reason why they can't wear a mask, asthmatic or something like that. And his response, because that question was asked on their Facebook page, his response was, well, we have takeout and carry out options available.
Yep.
Otherwise,
that's an option.
We're really sorry. We can't have you in here. Now, I haven't been into a restaurant. Have you been into a restaurant since things have reopened?
Yes, we've been to a few, 2 or 3 different restaurants.
So how does this work? Do you have your mask? You walk in. You say, we got a table of 4. You have your mask on, you're still standing around or outside, presumably. Then they call you to your table, you sit down. Do you have to wear your mask while you're sitting there? Or is it when the food arrives you can take it off?
That I'm not clear, and I'm not sure how strict they are in that regulation. We've eaten inside in all these cases, inside the restaurant, and they space it out. Restaurants will do it differently, but they're supposed to, if you're at table 1, there's not supposed to be anyone at table 2 maybe or across from you.
Right.
They do things diagonally. They skip every other booth maybe and things like that to give you space. But I'll be honest with you. We respectfully wear it going into the restaurant when we're seated at the table and it's just, the 4 or 5 of us that are at the restaurant together and there's nobody else around. We remove the mask. And you're not required, obviously, when you're drinking and eating. And the minute, the sodas come to the table or the coffee, gets ordered, you're constantly kind of sipping and eating and drinking and munching.
Yeah.
So the masks stay off. And then when we get up to leave and to pay or whatever, then we put them back on and go on our merry way.
It's a real tough one for compliance. I'm honestly surprised Governor Inslee has not mandated this sooner. It seems like states that didn't jump on as quickly as Washington did have enacted these mandatory maskings sooner than we have. I'm thinking specifically of Texas, where Governor Abbott down there was it appeared to be against the masking rules and the social distancing. And last week he made an abrupt about face, and I believe he was closing down some of the bars and making these masks mandatory. I don't know about you, but I'm really surprised that Washington had not enacted this sooner.
Yeah, I kind of am too. And just sort of a reminder to everybody out there to just be polite about it. If you don't like this, then don't go into businesses. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If they don't have curbside options for you, don't get confrontational with the ownership. Don't get confrontational with the wait staff, with the grocery people. I mean, they're doing, and again, the penalty here, worst case, I don't think they're going to shut businesses down over this. Worst case, a business can be shut down. They could face thousands of dollars in fines. And if you were in their position, you'd probably be enforcing this as well.
Yeah. I mean, you just never know. And you never know when someone may come in. You know, this is your livelihood. And I'll be darn sure if it's me maintaining my business for the next 20 years or letting you sit down without a mask. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I hate to lose that sale, but
and this could be a normal
business.
Oh yeah, and this people have to face the fact that business owners have the right to do this forever if they want. I mean, even after Inslee says you don't have to do this, if a business says, you know what, I kind of feel more comfortable requiring my patrons or my people coming into my bookstore or whatever to wear masks, then that might be the way that it is, and you're either going to have to decide whether to keep giving them business or just complying and dealing with this is, you know, kind of the new reality.
That new no shoes, no shirt, no service. I mean, it's almost like that has become so ingrained that it's not even real. You know, it's like, oh yeah, well, who goes into a place without their shirt on? You know, you're not supposed to. No shoes, no shirt, no service.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost starting to become the same thing as it's mask, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service.
Yeah. I remember restaurants when I was growing up, nice restaurants required you to wear a tie. I mean, I know those days are kind of over, but I remember going into a restaurant and my father and I didn't have ties on. And they said, well, and they actually had some in the coat room that you could put on. I mean, those days are gone, I guess. But, you know, I mean, nobody fought it saying, oh, well, that's the last place. I mean, they had the right to say, I'm not wearing a tie. It's silly. I'm going to go eat at McDonald's or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, more Daybreak Show rolls on. Make sure you have your face coverings today before you leave the house and start hanging those. You see a lot of them hanging down off the rearview mirrors these days. That's kind of the new sign of the times.
Yep, the new dominoes, right? Or not dominoes, the new dice.
The new dice on the windows on the rearview is the mask. More Daybreak Show coming up.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Daybreak with Jeff Slakey podcast. Again, I'm so happy and honored you found us and chose to listen. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share this with your circle of influence. It's a collection of some of the interviews, news, and conversation during Daybreak with Jeff Slakey on iFiber One News Radio KMAS, weekdays from 6 to 9. Thank you so much again, and talk with you next time.